everyone! Today we're going to be making a warm goat's cheese salad. My previous video I posted a cold version of the salad, and now we're going to be warming it up with some roast potatoes. So what you're going to need is your goat's cheese, and in this case the circumference doesn't matter. I've chosen a smaller one that you could get at any grocery store. You're also going to need a red onion, and we're probably going to use only about a quarter of it because you don't want the onion to be too strong. And we've got some cherry tomatoes. I've left them whole because we don't want them to make the roast potatoes soggy, so I prefer to keep them whole. And we're also going to need our potatoes, so I've chosen the smaller ones. I prefer working with those, and I've taken the type that are different colors because I feel like it adds something to the look of the salad. But you're also going to need salt and pepper, and that we're going to use for the actual potatoes and also in our salad. But I've put some oregano in here as well, just to flavor the potatoes while they're roasting. You're going to need some olive oil and some garlic. So I have 3 pieces of garlic, and we're going to use the grater to make it really fine. And that's pretty much it, so let's get started. What we're going to do first, so I've already pre-cut some of the potatoes right here. So I just cut them into quarters and just made a layer right there. So what we do is just take your potato and we're going to cut it down the middle, turn it, and then cut it again. So we end up with 4. So I'll just do that with the last few. Okay. And I actually really love goat's cheese, so you'll probably see that a few of my recipes have the cheese in it. Cheese in general, I think most people love, but goat's cheese is one of my faves. Okay, 2 more to go. So I've preheated my oven to 400. I usually do it on convection, and they cook for about 30 minutes or so. So just keep an eye on them, especially because they're small, you don't want them to burn. So with that done, move this out of the way. So we're going to take our potatoes and we are going to sprinkle on our salt, pepper, and oregano. You can also use rosemary. I do that if I'm making lamb because I feel like it's a good complement to the lamb. And now for your olive oil, I use quite a lot of olive oil. I just kind of drizzle it on, like so. And I like it because it's going to also add that crisp to it. So, and then we can just go ahead and stir it up. Try to get them all well coated. Like that. And that's pretty much it. So now we're going to go ahead and put them in the oven. Check on them maybe every 10 minutes, but they shouldn't take more than half an hour if you keep it on 400. And if you notice them burning, just turn it down a little bit. And I'll put them in the oven and then we'll come back. Okay, so I just took out the potatoes. They're about halfway done. I'm just going to give them a quick stir, make sure that they're not drying out too much. And they smell amazing. And they're starting to look really good, and they're crisping up. So I'm going to keep it at 400. Usually at this time, if you could tell they're burning, you can turn it down. But I think they're good. So we're going to pop them back in the oven, and I'll show you when they come out. Okay, so our potatoes are fresh out of the oven. They're piping hot and they look really, really great. They have that crisp that I wanted. So we're gonna let those cool for a little bit. And in the meantime, we're gonna grab a little bowl and start dressing the other ingredients. So we're gonna take our tomatoes, and like I said, we're not gonna cut them up, so we're just gonna go ahead and get them in the bowl. Then I've already cut the onion. So like I said, we're only going to use a quarter, and I just cut it down the core and then slice it into really thin pieces. So you really don't want it to be too strong, and these are the pieces. So you're only going to use a little bit, and then just break it apart into the bowl. You really want to make sure you break it apart though, because you don't want a giant piece of onion in the salad. Okay. And any that's like this, we're going to discard. There we go. So we got that in there. Now what we're going to do is, I have grated some of the garlic, and we're going to use that to dress this portion of the salad. For the potatoes, I do like to add garlic, but I don't like to add it in the oven before I roast it because I don't want it to get burnt. You know that burnt garlicky taste, it's not that great. So what I do instead is when they come out, then I grate a little bit of garlic on top just to give it that bit of flavor without cooking it too much. So in here for the salad, I have 2 cloves of garlic. They were quite small. Oil and salt and pepper. So you're just going to go ahead and pour that onto your salad. And I'm going to grab a little spoon just to get out all the salt and pepper. There we go. And just give that a good little stir. Okay. That's good. So we'll put that aside. And in the meantime, we're going to grate our garlic. So you can see they're really small pieces. We're just going to grate that over the garlic. And if you, over the potatoes. And if you have bigger pieces of garlic, then maybe not so heavy in the salad. Oops. Okay, I just lost the rest of that one, but most of it's in here, so. There we go. And we are going to just stir that in there so that it can get nice and even. Okay. Now that that is done, we can move on to the goat cheese, which is my favorite part. So, I'm just rinse my hands because they're covered in garlic. Okay. So what we're going to do is cut it thin enough. You want thin pieces, but you just want them to be able to stand alone. So you don't want to cut it too thin so that they're all flaky and disintegrate. So I would say probably this thickness is good. So you'll go ahead. We'll probably use, I mean, it depends on your taste, so you could use as much as you want, but I would say about half of the cheese would be good. Okay, that's about good. So for now we're going to do that, and you don't want to put the cheese on the potatoes when they're still piping hot because it's going to melt and get everywhere. So you're going to see how we assemble the salad. Alright, now we can start. So I'm going to grab my plate, put in a bowl, anything that you want, and we need to take a bigger mixing bowl and incorporate the potatoes with the tomatoes and onion. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump them in here, and take my mitt and add the potatoes to the other ingredients. Okay, there we go. And then give it a stir. And you don't want to break the potatoes up. So just try to be a little bit gentle when you're stirring it. It already looks so pretty, all the colors, so I'm excited. Okay. Now what we're going to do is start putting it onto your plate. So you could just go ahead and make one layer like that, and then add your goat's cheese randomly. And if you have little pieces that break apart, that's also great because you can add them around and spread them for more flavor. Now we're going to go ahead and continue piling it on. Okay. Should get most of it on here. And this is just a great side for anything. I usually make it with lamb, but I've also had it with seafood, and it's just so nice because of the freshness of the vegetables, and then you get the heat from the potatoes, which is nice. So there, it's all on there. We're going to go with our last few pieces of goat's cheese. If you want, you can top it off with a sprig of rosemary. I didn't use rosemary in this recipe. I used oregano instead. But this is the final product. I really hope you like it. You could play around with it, add olives. Olives are also one of my favorites. But I really hope you like it. Enjoy!